So welcome back again to the Installer Plaza, sponsored by Glowworm, and another chat. And this time I'm with James Chillman, who's the UK Country Manager at Fergus Job Management Software. James, welcome. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining me. This is your first installer show, and I'm just wondering, what's your impression of today?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic show. We arrived here late yesterday. Nice. It was really busy, and we were like, well, this is next level. This is really good. So first morning, fantastic. It's been some great. We've had really good conversations, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 days.
Excellent. What do the really good conversations look like? I mean, just give us a bit of context around that.
Yeah, I guess for us, we're looking to try and find businesses that are growing. We want people that are, looking to adopt technology into their business and really need that help in boosting profits as they go along. So lots of plumbing, electrical businesses, and it's been great.
And I think I'm right to say you've helped something like 25,000 tradespeople since the launch in 2011. It's kind of about reducing their admin time so they can spend more time doing what they should be doing, as opposed to the bit of a pain, a lot of this stuff, isn't it? So what's the backstory of Fergus?
Yeah, so we've got a really great backstory, actually. It's almost too good sometimes. So we were founded by a chap called Dan Pollard, who was a plumber, all the way over from Auckland in New Zealand. And he actually failed in business. So he set up a plumbing business and he went bust pretty badly, ran out of cash, couldn't afford to pay his bills, and had to quit. Owed quite a few people a lot of money, decided to go to Australia for a bit, pick up some money, pay off his debts, and come back. For you and I, we'd probably move on to a different career, but for Dan, he decided to come back and do it again.
Did he?
This time suffered differently. So this time it was more, he knew cash flow was an issue, but it was now, I'm mentally burnt out. I'm spending my life doing admin. How do I make this better? So he took some time out again, thought, I'm not doing this. Foolishly or cleverly, came back for a third time. This time, he knew the issues he was going to face.
Third time lucky.
Exactly. So he came back, and now the plumbing business grew to 25 staff in Auckland, which, if you've been to New Zealand, is a relatively big plumbing business. And the plumbing business is still running today under the name Your Local Plumber. We use them in our office in New Zealand. They're fantastic.
Amazing.
And Fergus was built off the back of that. He learned very quickly, if I'm going to do this properly, I need to do it this way. Obviously, the logo.
I was just going to say, is this dog called Fergus?
We're on Fergus Mark II now, but the original Fergus was Dan's best friend, followed him on every job, so the logo's stuck ever since.
Brilliant.
But Fergus Mark II is still very, always in the office.
Well, I'm actually going to New Zealand at the end of the year, so maybe I'll try and see if I can find Fergus, take him for a walk. What do you think is the biggest challenge to tradespeople when trying to grow their profits?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is most people jump in to a bit of software, and it's a big change. It's a big business process you go through. If you were a regular business, non-trades, and you tried to adopt a bit of software to run your whole business, you'd probably have a team of consultants. You would have lots of people coming going, look, this is how you're going to do it. You need to change this. You need to do this. So to jump into a bit of software and change, it's a lot of work.
There's a big fear factor as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it requires motivation. It requires you to be motivated to change. So the biggest challenges we see are people that they haven't got the motivation all the time, which we understand people are short on. And that's some of the things we try and help people with.
But explain to me, what is job management software? I mean, obviously it's there to help the person, the user, but what is the software?
Yeah, so our software, there's lots of job management softwares around now. Ours is pretty simple. We've got 3 founding principles. We want to save you time on admin, we want to get you paid faster, and we want you to be more profitable.
So is this like, for instance, for me, I do this for a living, unbelievably, but I use kind of like Xero to help me with...
Yeah, exactly. Xero is an accounting package.
Yeah.
Fergus has been built from the ground up by a tradesperson for tradespeople.
So he understands the needs.
Yeah. So when you log in, it's very simple. It's easy to understand. There's no jargon, like an accounting package. We're using terminology that a plumber and electrician would just naturally understand, and making it really easy for you to adopt it.
So why wouldn't they use, for instance, Xero or QuickBooks and so on? Is that slightly different?
Yeah, so I think Xero, QuickBooks, great for tracking your accounts, great for invoicing, getting them out. But we go a bit further. So we're talking about how do we manage the guys out in the field? How do we make sure they get the jobs allocated to them, popping up on their phone, telling them where to go, what are the details? Getting the customer to sign off when they finish the work.
So you give them support, whereas with Xero, for instance, it's a package and that's
exactly, but it goes a bit further. So, once you've completed the works on site, making sure the customers agree to it and say, yeah, I'm happy with it, so I can send the invoice straight away. So really a whole package that's going to manage the business versus just accounting.
So for anyone who sees this and is not quite sure, what are the key basics that trade persons should know when trying to understand how their profits work, how to grow their profits, the difference between gross and net and so on and so forth?
I think it's quite amazing. We speak to lots of trades businesses every day. One of the amazing things is very few people know how much profit they make. We had a great example the other week. We had a new customer, we were onboarding them, and we sat down and ran through a typical job they did. And we said at the end of it, our software makes it very clear and says, this is your profit margin on this job. And he said, well, I'm losing money. We said, yeah, well, so this is, if this is what you're charging, you are losing money. And he said, I didn't know that. So one of the key things is we expose that information very early on from the quote stage, allowing the company to take control and make sure they're driving the profit.
So it's an eye-opener, really, for them, because they probably thought they were making loads of money or whatever, and suddenly realising, actually, right. So what are the tips that you'd give to tradespeople to help them manage their profit margin?
Yeah, I think one of the best things is you've got to drive it. So you've got to start from the beginning. You can't catch it at the end. You can't say, oh, I'll just add a little bit extra on. You've got to make sure, if you're installing something in someone's house and you use 10 of it, make sure you charge that customer for the 10 parts. Make sure you charge them for all the time you're there, and make sure you're not just losing costs. Make sure your bucket's not leaky. If you're on a 10% net profit and you're working a 40-hour standard week, you probably don't make any profit till the last 4 hours on a Friday. And I don't know about you, but I'd probably rather be in the pub on the Friday afternoon than working.
From 2 o'clock.
Exactly.
But so, here I am, let's say I'm an installer, I've got the software, I'm doing a quote. What then happens if the customer says, I'll sign off on that quote? Does it then, you tick a box somewhere in the software and then that will move it on and say, you need to invoice this in extra?
Exactly. So then it moves into what we call the scheduling stage. So the customer's signed off, they can do that automatically in the email. And then we schedule them out. So we've got a full calendar functionality. You can schedule your engineers out. They get it through to their mobile app. So the engineers out in the field know where to go and know exactly where they need to go. Once the job's complete, we make it really clear in our dashboard that it's ready to be invoiced. They can send the invoice out.
An invoice as well?
Exactly. It creates it from the quote once you're ready to go, sends it out, and we could even include a link so you can pay by credit card nice and easily at the end.
Brilliant. And is there a post-invoice being sent out, sort of a flag that says it's 30 days or 60 days since they went out, they haven't paid you yet?
Exactly. It's very clear on our dashboard as well. It's bright red if someone sat in the bucket where they should have paid the invoice. And they're going to make it very clear that needs to be paid.
And the cost of entry to this, is there one cost or is it a varying cost depending on what you want, how big your company is and so on and so forth?
It's a really simple pricing model. It starts at £20 per month per user, so nice and easy for people to get into. And it goes up to £30 per month for our professional plan. We don't charge any hidden fees for things like onboarding. It's all included. We've got a great team just up the road in Manchester that help you get up and running. And we're there to make sure you get the most out of the software. We understand it's not an easy transition. And we want you to get the most out of it.
And what sort of support is there? Is there 12 hours a day, 24 hours a day? How does that?
Yes, I think that's one of the great things about being founded in New Zealand. We've got a big team over in Australia and New Zealand as well. So our UK support comes online about just before 9 a.m. and runs through to obviously standard working hours. And then shortly after that, we have a team in New Zealand who come online. And we'll go through pretty much till about 6 a.m. in the morning if you're still inclined to be up invoicing at that time, which we do see people do.